This is a New York Muscle Radio Network production.
Hey there guys, you're listening to the Bikini and Barbell Show, the #1 resource for bikini-ready fit chicks. Welcome back, ladies, to the Bikini and Barbell Show episode number 13, brought to you by the New York Muscle Radio Network. On today's episode, we're going to discuss weight loss plateauing. So if you ladies are feeling stuck at one weight and you just feel like you're working your ass off and not losing anything, well, by listening to today's episode, we're going to give out some tips on how to overcome a weight loss plateau. Ladies, I also want to mention that we also have a special gift for you. As a thank you, we're giving you guys a free 12-week program to help you stay bikini ready. So if you ladies just want to head on over to www.newyorkmuscleradio.com/bikini ready, just pick up your copy there today. I'm your host, Laura Bevilacqua, and with me today I have my brother Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys? Pete, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? I just finished up some dinner and taking it easy, recording a podcast, and more work to do later.
All I see is you stroking your arm, man. What the hell are you doing over there?
I had to preface that before the podcast. I had to warn my two co-hosts over here because they could see me, so everybody else is listening right now. If you see my hand moving underneath the table, it's because I'm petting my dog, which is true.
You're not playing pocket pool, right?
Nah, I mean, I'll do that afterwards, but, you know, right now I got the dog here, so she's in my way.
Disgusting, man. This is a ladies' podcast. What's wrong with you?
Hey, man, you started
I like how after you said that, he goes, yeah, as he keeps petting his dog.
Yeah, he keeps stroking it. Who is the bad guy with the cat? That was Dr. Evil? Was that Dr. Evil?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Evil with the cat.
That's you.
Yeah, my dog looks a little bit like a cat right now, too. She's fully groomed, so she don't have too much hair on her.
So
what's up with you?
Nothing much, you know. How you guys feeling with the nice weather?
I know,
Coming up
I'm loving
soon,
it.
right?
I don't see you anymore. This is the only way I get to talk to you.
I know. Just keeping busy. What about you guys?
Good. We bumped some calories up for you last week based on the episode that we had last week. So
Yeah.
How you feel?
I want to hear the update.
I'm actually feeling really good. I'm not hungry as much as I was eating less carbs, and I noticed that you've been bumping up the carbs, and that was always my craving. So, and I also, like, my workouts have been very, like, energized.
It's amazing what 10 to 20 grams of carbs actually do.
And it's only like 10.
So you guys bumped 10 carbs right now, and how's the weight been? Any change with that, or same weight?
It's been consistent.
Okay, good. See, that's perfect. That's a perfect example, and that's the goal that everybody should look for. You know, week after week, bump it up 5-10 grams of carbs here and there. Try to keep that weight stable. And if you do it slowly and consistently, then that weight will stay stable.
Yeah, it's always good. It's always exciting.
Yeah, it's actually good to see my workouts having more energy throughout my workout. You know, I can actually finish it. But I also find myself sweating more throughout a workout, which is, I don't know if that's weird but it's...
Well, it's normal. I think once your metabolism starts coming back, you start to heat up a little bit, so it's normal to do that. I really don't sweat too much during a workout. Pete sweats the most when he does biceps.
Yeah, I don't sweat when I do squats and deadlifts. If I do nice
bicep
curls.
Guys, I'm not even lying. He sweats the most. As soon as he starts, he'll pick up like a 20s and just start curling them, profusely sweating. He'll squat 300 pounds, nothing.
Not one drip.
Not one drip.
I think that's more of like a mental sweat. I'm so into my bicep curls that I just sweat.
Mental sweat.
I think I'm so focused that my body, the energy just starts pouring out of me. I think that's what it is.
But dude, it's true though. You squat 300 pounds, nothing.
Well, what could the other
dumbbell, drenched?
What could the other answer be? Honestly, think about it.
But Pete, I want to ask you: do you just do curls?
Like, is that the only thing I do when I go to the gym?
Yeah. No. When you do arms. Because I want to grow my biceps.
So my arm program is, well, basically anybody who followed the 12-week arm experiment is based around the way I train my arms on a regular basis anyway. So my arm program, you know, I train biceps and I train triceps obviously, but my arms consist of barbell curls, dumbbell curls, tricep press downs and skull crushers. Those are kind of the meat and potatoes of it. There's nothing too fancy with it, but for arms, there's really not too many different exercises you have to do. For like,
I try to think of like different ways while I'm in the gym, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll do a circuit of like easy bar curls, bicep curls, or cable curls, and then go to skull crushers. And do you do circuits like that?
No, I mean, I like to do supersets. So if I want to cut down on time, what I'll do is I'll do my barbell curls, and then right after I finish a set of barbell curls, I'll go over to tricep press downs. And I'll do those back and forth with no rest in between. That'll cut down on time. And yeah, you could treat that like a circuit workout, but while I'm training biceps, my triceps are recovering, and then vice versa. So then when I move the triceps, the biceps are getting a rest. So that eliminates the time in the gym, and I can kind of just bang through it really fast. Then move on to the other exercises.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Anthony, you do any biceps?
Yeah, of course. So one of our clients actually on New York Muscle Radio, she wanted to grow her biceps too, and we gave her the arm program that we offer on the NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, which is the program that we put together for my arms, which worked for me. And her arms look really, really good. Pete, is her picture on the website? We should probably put it up on the website.
I have to double check. It's not. So we just redid the
website,
but yeah, we have it on the Facebook page. I don't think we put it up on the website yet because we have to redo the program section. But no, yeah, she's a great testament of what the arm program could do even for women too, because she's not a woman trying to look overly muscular. She just wanted to work on her arms and tone up a little bit, and it just goes to show you doing those heavy basic exercises the same way we talk about doing squats, doing deadlifts to build your lower body, doing those barbell curls, dumbbell curls, skull crushers, press downs, those basic movements, they're going to tone up those arms as well for women. They're not just going to put on blocky muscle.
Yeah, I just feel like also for women, it's harder to tone up the upper body than the lower body.
Yeah, most women have trouble with that. It's just a little bit easier for women to put muscle on their lower body. But it also comes down to how much time and effort you really put into it. A lot of women, too, don't really spend too much time working on their upper body. They kind of do that as a secondary thing. And we always talk about prioritizing. So if arms are something you really want to build and you're a female, like spend time. There's nothing wrong with having an arm day if you're a female, or having days specifically targeted to certain upper body movements and body parts, So it's all about prioritizing.
Yeah, I usually mix it up with my back workout. Like, I'll do back, and then I'll do some arms along with it.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's how I do it, too. It's easy to fit biceps. You can put biceps anywhere.
I mean, I do it on its own day just because I like doing that, but you don't have to do it that way. I like to dedicate a whole day to arms. My favorite day of the week.
Is that that's your favorite, right?
By far, that's my favorite workout, yeah.
Really? Both biceps and triceps, not like one or the other?
No, I like doing biceps and triceps because then I get an even bigger pump.
No, I'm saying, like, do you like training one more than the other?
Yeah, I like training biceps a little bit more than triceps, but it's close. But I wouldn't like to do just a bicep workout without doing triceps at the same time.
I feel like something's missing, right?
Absolutely. They work synergistically, though. I mean, it's one of those muscle groups where you'll get the benefit out of doing them separately, like you said, if you do, back and then you do biceps, but biceps and triceps work really well together. You can make a case for doing chest and back together, but there's pros and cons to it as well. I just think biceps and triceps together is just a great way to train them.
I want to mention to you, Anthony, by the way, someone messaged me about one of the episodes, and she goes, I also follow Amanda Bucci, and I always laugh when Anthony questions as to why you look up to her. So I was just laughing. I was like, I know. Why can't he just let us, stay inspired by her?
I still don't get it.
So it's not just me.
Hey, speaking of which, I figured I get Laura's opinion on this. Anthony probably doesn't. I don't know if Anthony even knows about this. I'm sure Laura does. Did you see that whole thing with her posting the picture, and she did like a different angle where she didn't look as good, and then
the magazine picked it up.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably explain it better than me. I know it, really briefly, but I was curious about what you thought about that.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So can we start from the top here? What happened?
Yeah, let Laura explain it. You probably could explain it better than me.
So let me go to the picture first so I can say the right thing. Because she posted up a picture of, what was it? Oh, bad angle, relaxed, versus good angle posed. So she realized that she mentioned the word bad. And ever since that, she was like, she rephrased herself and she's like, well, I didn't mean the word bad, because people take that word into like, well, who says that that's a bad angle? So it just made it to an article. I forgot, I didn't really read the article, but
yeah, apparently
so
she
wrote the word bad.
newsworthy.
She wrote the word bad in the Instagram post and got in trouble.
Not that she got in trouble, but her, her fans, the ones that are all on the sensitive bandwagon now, said like,
oh, the liberals.
Yeah, like why would you say that you
my.
look bad? Like why use that term bad? And the purpose,
thank God those people don't listen to this podcast.
I know. She was trying to point out, I want to show you what I look like in my best angle, and I also want to show you what I look like in an unflattering angle, But she said good and bad.
People got offended from that.
Because she
posted up a picture of herself looking fat, and
yes,
someone got offended by that.
Well, only because she used the word bad, and they said, well, you don't look bad. Why would you say bad? Oh, my God. But it made it, like she said, it made it to a news article. Somebody, they made it into this big thing.
Yeah. And then some people comment on it and they're like, well, it's not a bad thing to look how you look on your bad pose. So like people got sensitive about it, which I get, because people take things way out of proportion also.
Yeah, but who gives a crap?
Yeah, and she made it to like a magazine.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. That's what makes it to the magazine.
Yes, that's what makes it to the magazine. That she said that she said that she looked bad. It's not like even somebody else said you look bad. She said I look bad in this picture.
So maybe that's the secret to Instagram, man. I'm just gonna take some unflattering photos of my ass, and then maybe I'll make it viral. I'll make it to a magazine.
Give it a try, man.
After that, she recorded a podcast about confidence. So.
Oh my God.
Next podcast we're going to do it on confidence, guys.
Yeah.
Anthony's taking the lead.
You have to have the confidence to try to step up to me sometimes, Pete. During this podcast, you're a little quiet. You really got to learn to have the confidence.
You know what? After this podcast, I'm going to work on my confidence. I'm going to do some affirmations and some pre-framing, and next time we come back for the podcast. I got some
mental anchors right now.
All right.
I want to actually talk about that 12-week program for the Bikini Ready. I think that's awesome. Who came up with that idea?
Basically, we both did, and we basically make sure that you have plenty of confidence to finally finish out the full 12 weeks. That's the main goal. There's really no program in there, guys. It's just a full-on program to give you more confidence. Just to say, I don't look bad in this lighting. I look great. People are really unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I really can't take it anymore. Like, this world is just, my head hurts sometimes when I think about it. But yeah, you want to talk about the program, big guy?
Yeah, so basically we put together a program specifically for the females, because they, there's not, again, out of all you could go online for guys and find workouts all over the place. For females, it's a little bit harder to find good workouts, because you'll see the stupid plyometric stuff, all the stuff that looks good on Instagram that doesn't really work. So
actually, wait, I'm sorry, I want to cut you off, man. I know people hate when I do that, but I'm cutting you off quick.
Yeah, so I was keep doing it too. You just keep doing it.
I can't help it because he just rants and I forget he goes so long and I forget my train of thought because he's just going and going and going. So anyway,
hey, listen, that's not my fault that your attention span is so short.
Well, you're freaking boring,
he hates
man.
it too. He hates it too when you do it. Pete gets mad.
Yeah, he does. No, anyway, wait, listen. It's basically.
He tells me to talk, then he cuts me off.
Shut up. Shut up. So listen. So I was scrolling through Instagram before, and based on what you just said with the stupid things on Instagram, there was literally a girl who has a rogue rack, similar to what I have, like a half rack. And you could tell, like, that rack is used for squatting and deadlifting. No one buys a rogue rack for no reason. She literally had a band attached to it and was doing, like, glute kickbacks with it and wrote, like, a post about what to do for glutes. I just shook my head when I saw that. I'm like, you clearly lift. Like, there's no hiding the rack that you're in. And it was, like, in a home gym. So you know that this girl obviously knows what she's doing. So you're going to sit here and write a post saying that the band is actually giving you glutes, but the rack that you're using doesn't have anything to do with it.
So you're mad at the fact that she was doing bands on the rack?
I'm mad at the fact that she was lying, saying that the band was giving her the results.
Well, was she selling the band?
I didn't read the full post.
That's
probably
why she was doing it. She was selling the band.
That's very well,
guys,
or the pants that she was wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's either of the two are very possible. But guys, we don't sell pants and we don't sell bands. but we do get
Not
you
yet,
guys.
not yet.
Yeah, we do get you guys in shape with real training programs. So if you want a real training program that's going to get you in shape that doesn't have pants or bands involved in it, you go to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
No pants for this workout at all, ladies. Don't wear your pants.
Not required.
Such a pig.
Look, as he said, not required, stroking his arm under the table. Why is the dog behind you, man?
I warned you, man.
What?
All right, let's move on to the Bikini and Barbell quote of the day. So today's quote is from Jack LaLanne. Am I saying that right?
Oh, Jack LaLanne. You don't know who Jack LaLanne is?
He's a bodybuilder known as the Godfather of Fitness. And he says, your health account, your bank account, they're the same thing. The more you put in, the more you can take out. Exercise is king and nutrition is queen. Together, you have a kingdom. I just thought that was so cool how to put it together, right?
Yeah, Jack LaLanne is probably one of the biggest. I'm trying to think of how I could word him. Because he was
pioneer. That's how
I would.
Pioneer, I would call him. Fitness pioneer.
Yeah, but
like, why do they call him the Godfather of Fitness?
Because basically he was all natural. You know, he was around back in I believe it was I want to say like the 30s and 40s. And he was all natural and just preached like health and wellness. And he would tell people like during commercial breaks, just do things like push-ups, do sit-ups, just move. And he was, like the Godfather of Fitness is probably the perfect way to put it. I wouldn't consider him a bodybuilder by any means.
No.
You know, he just basically worked that. He was just a natural guy who was just in shape. I want to say like a Jane Fonda. I guess you could compare him to kind of like that. Except he was more of he was a great guy actually. I met him in Ohio in 2007, and this was right before he was like 85 or 95. I forget. I don't even know how old he was. And he swam. He was going to swim the Bering Sea that year. It was really cool to actually talk to him, and he asked me about like my grades and stuff. Like, out of all the people we've talked about this previously on the podcast, but out of all the people I met that year in 2007, Jack LaLanne stood out the best to me. And he was just a pioneer of fitness, like Pete said, and he was always just preaching health and wellness. So that's a really good quote, actually. And one of his other quotes that I always say from him that I steal is a lifetime a second on the lips equals a lifetime on the hips. Basically talking about food. So it tastes good for 2 seconds, but then you swallow it, it sits on your hips. Yeah, he preached mostly health.
Right.
I didn't think he was that old.
He did some really impressive stuff too. Didn't he swim like from Alcatraz with boats tied to him?
Yeah, he did a lot of crazy shit like that.
Yeah, nobody does anything like. You'll never see anybody do something like that now.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And you said he's like 85 now?
No, he's dead. He's dead now.
Oh.
He's dead.
Yeah, unfortunately.
People don't know the inside joke.
Yeah, that's an inside joke. But if you listen to one of the New York Muscle Radio podcasts, you might get where that joke came from.
He's dead now.
Yeah, look for that one, guys.
I'm just gonna Google him quick because I want to read up some facts on him. Obviously, he came out with the juicer.
Yeah, he was he was the first guy that talked about juicing. Yeah.
First fitness superhero.
I guess that's why he says exercise is king and nutrition is queen.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1914 and he died in 96. So I met him at like 92.
What year did he die?
In 2011.
2011.
At 96.
Yeah,
96. Yeah. So I mean, I guess he was right in what he said. I mean, obviously he was natural and he just preached fitness his whole life. He was active his whole life, and he lived to 96. So he's got something right there.
Wow, that's awesome.
He was an American fitness, exercise, and nutrition expert and motivational speaker who is sometimes referred to as the Godfather of Fitness and fitness's first fitness superhero. He also described himself as being a sugarholic and a junk food junkie until he was 15. He also had behavioral problems but turned his life around after listening to a public lecture on the benefits of good nutrition and health. During his career, he became to believe that the country's overall health depended on the health of its population and referred to physical culture and nutrition as the salvation of America. Interesting.
So he's like before Arnold.
Yeah, way before Arnold. Arnold Schwarzenegger once proclaimed that Jack LaLanne is an animal. After 54 years old, the 54-year-old LaLanne beat 21-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger barely in an informal contest. It doesn't say what the contest was. Schwarzenegger credited LaLanne for being an apostle for fitness, inspiring billions all over the world. Huh. There we go. Here are some of his feats. Here we go. At age 40, he swam the entire Golden Gate Bridge underwater with 140 pounds of air tanks and other equipment strapped to his body. At age 40. Age 41, he swam to Alcatraz. That's what Pete was talking about. Age 42, he set what was claimed as the world record of 1,033 push-ups in 23 minutes. On a TV show, he did that in 1956. Then again, 1943, he swam the Golden Gate Bridge while towing a 2,500-foot cabin cruiser. Then, my God, again, age 40. Every year he does something. Age 44, he maneuvered a paddleboard nonstop from the Farallon Islands to San Francisco shore, 30 miles. At age 45, he did 1,000 jumping jacks, 1,000 chin-ups in 1 hour and 22 minutes. At age 60, he swam the Alcatraz again. Apparently, there was heavier boats this time. 61, repeated his performance 20 years ago and swam the entire length of the Golden Gate Bridge. Wow, this guy did a lot, man. At age 65, now keep this in mind, guys. At age 65, most people who are 65 now think they're done. He towed 65 boats in Lake Akishiwa near Tokyo, Japan. He was handcuffed and shackled, and the boats were filled with 65,000 pounds of pulp wood. How fucking crazy is that?
Well, you see, his biggest thing was he was trying to promote health and longevity throughout his whole life. You know, it wasn't always about
that.
Right, and it wasn't just about looking good, which is what our fitness generation is right now. He was really preaching being healthy and living a long, healthy life.
That's crazy. And see, like, that's cool. Like, I don't want to live to be that old and be like a vegetable. I want to be that old and be like there still. Like,
I was going to say that.
I met him at like 92 or 93, and he was still there. He even said it. He goes, I want to swim over here, but my wife won't let me.
All right, Anthony, stop talking. Let Laura talk now.
No, I was just going to say, like, it scares me, like, as like when I get older, I still want to be active. And because, like you said, when you're at the age of 65, people just think that, I'm done. You know, or even like 45.
Yeah. It's very true, yeah.
I'm actually
really, Pete? It's true?
Yeah, man. You know how many people I know that use that as an excuse? I hate hearing that excuse.
Go ahead, Laura. What were you going to say?
Hey, listen, I don't have a problem with cutting people off, all right?
Pipe down.
You two are going to argue this whole episode. Like, when do you guys know when enough is enough? Like, when do you know you're going to be done powerlifting? I guess you just never know. Like, Anthony, do you have in mind when you're...
Lights go out. That song. Come on, man. Give out. Can't shut my mouth. Never, man, I guess.
Yeah,
I'd say your birthday's, right? How old are you going to be this year?
Yeah, he's gonna be 30. You better start taking it easy now. You know, you're not a kid anymore.
Hey, screw you, man. Hey, what happened? You took your happy pills today?
Yeah, man.
You're in a good mood, man.
He's in a
sitting
good
there
mood.
stroking under the table.
Hey, man, I just needed a couple strokes and I was happy.
Oh God. I don't know. When do you know when you're done with something? I guess you know, right?
I'd say my whole philosophy's always been, you know, I'm gonna keep doing it 100% until my body tells me I can't, and then I'm not gonna stop. But then I'm gonna adjust. You know, just because you get older and you start getting aches and pains and injuries doesn't mean you have to stop doing what you're doing. But you might have to adjust what you're doing. You know, you might have to take a different approach. You might have to focus on other goals. But I don't think you never really have to just plain stop.
Yeah. Well, as far as like powerlifting meets, what do you do?
Well, I know when I was competing in bodybuilding, I knew after my last contest, I was like, I just didn't see the return on getting that lean and suffering for that long. So for me, it was just like, I think I'm done competing. Like, I just kind of felt like, all right, I don't think I want to do that again. I mean, not to say that I might not ever step on the bodybuilding stage, but I was like, I'm not going to stop bodybuilding, but I think I'm going to stop competing because there's no reason for me to get that lean. And then I thought about it a couple times, and I'm like, I don't know. So I guess you have to have that motivation. And then I found powerlifting, and then I was like, oh, really? Forget that.
Yeah. Like, could you see yourself like 45 doing it?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Competing and stuff?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I really don't. I'll be like Jack LaLanne, 65 years old, still competing. Hey, listen, when I did Raw Nationals last year, the year before that actually, there was guys that were older, 60s, 70s, deadlifting, you know, squatting, and heavy too. So, hey, you're not dead after a certain age, right? Still alive.
All right, let's move on to the trending fitness topic. So the topic, it's hard to find topics because now it's all about social media. So I've tried to find something a little different.
Lord, don't be negative, or people are gonna start hating on us.
I'm just saying it was a little because everything's about social
Don't say
media.
the B word.
All
Don't
right.
say the B word. People will get mad.
So it says exercise is proven to help improve your sleep, memory, energy levels, strength and flexibility, work performance, confidence, reduces your risk of heart disease and 13 other cancers. And the fact is that doctors are going so far as to prescribe exercise to patients in an effort to get them moving.
Well, the memory thing is a complete lie because Pete always forgets everything.
Yeah, but can you imagine if I didn't exercise? I don't know. I don't have reference. I don't have a reference to compare it to since I've exercised basically my whole life, you know. But who knows now?
Do you really have bad memory?
I mean,
I have selective. I have selective memory. I'm very
horrible.
Yeah, in some cases, I'll admit, yeah, it is horrible, but it depends on what we're talking about. If it's stuff that interests me, I can remember. I can tell you stories like
please don't.
Very detailed stories like from when I was like 5 years old, and I remember them. But if you ask me about something that Anthony told me the other day, I forgot it. So it's selective, but it's not bad.
I can tell you that exercise definitely improves your sleep, that your energy levels. See, like that one's like an up and down. Like I definitely feel more energetic when I work out, but on the days that I have a brutal workout, I don't feel energetic at all.
Yeah.
You know what it is,
obviously
though?
Strength.
You know what it is, though? Just to clear that up, too. When they say exercise, they're not talking about the type of workouts that you do. You know, if you were to just go in the gym and go on a treadmill for 15, 20 minutes and do a 15-minute circuit workout, your energy is going to get better. You arguably will leave the gym with more energy than you entered it. You know, but when you train for 2.5 hours straight squatting and deadlifting, you're going to leave. You're going to be drained. So exercise for energy, it depends on the context of the exercise.
Very good. Confidence, definitely. I would definitely say it improves. Reduces your risk of heart disease and other cancers. I'm definitely sure of that, too. So, yeah, I can agree with everything on that list. Except for the last thing where it says doctors are going so far as to prescribe exercise to their patients. So when doctors prescribe exercise, they tell them, oh, yeah, you should probably do some cardio. One of the doctors told one of my clients, yeah, you should probably start losing about 10 pounds. That's what he told them. Like you should try to lose 10 pounds. What kind of advice is that?
Yeah, sometimes they just take the easy way out. Sometimes doctors, I feel like.
Yeah, that's why we got to move Austin to New York, man. Our good old Austin Marshall, our New York Muscle Radio doctor, he lives in Texas, but we got to move him to New York so I could just go see him all the time. He's a really good doctor. He has a lot of background in fitness, and it just makes him so much more applicable. I'm pretty sure he gives all of his patients great advice. Definitely.
Yeah, he understands fitness, and most doctors don't, unfortunately. They know medicine. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and people think that because somebody's a doctor. I mean, there's great doctors out there. I'm not talking bad about doctors in general, but doctors know medicine, most of them. And then there's great doctors that know more than just medicine. So it depends who your doctor is and who you speak to. But just because somebody's a doctor doesn't mean they're well-versed in exercise and nutrition. They know medicine, most of them.
Yeah. All right, it's time for the listener question of the day. So if you guys have a question that you'd like us to answer, just submit it on our website at www.newyorkmuscleradio.com/listener question, or you can call your question in at 508-687-2534. So today's question is submitted by Kaya Jacobs, and she goes, hey, can you please do a podcast on steroids, fat burners for women, and if they damage you, if you only use them for last few weeks of a bikini prep? Thanks, Kaya.
That's a great question, and I'm curious why she asked us to talk about that, because that's not a topic that we ever even go into, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I kind of moved my eyebrows when I was reading steroids.
Mm-hmm. So did you hear the listener question, Anthony? He's rejoining us right now, guys.
But you guys can't handle it when I walk away?
No, I was asking you, did you hear the listener question? Because we got an interesting one this time.
No, you fuckers read it without me. You guys saw I left the room, and you can't handle keeping a conversation going without me.
Where'd you go?
Actually, funny story. I just went to go get ice to put on my elbow. I don't know. For some reason, my elbows are bothering me in a weird spot. So I'm like, let me just go ice it quick while I'm on the podcast and can't move.
How disrespectful are you, man? You get up in the middle of the podcast. Everybody's listening right
There you
now.
go.
No respect,
Yeah, I'm disrespectful.
man.
You're touching yourself underneath the table right now in the
respect.
middle of the podcast in front of my sister. You fucking pig. You pig. You pig. Don't even try, man. Don't even try. All right, Laura, what was the question?
You want me to read it over? All right. So this is from Kaya, and she says, could you please do a podcast on steroids, fat burners for women, and if they damage you if you only, do they damage you if you only use them for the last few weeks of a bikini prep?
What's the matter, Pete? You're afraid to answer that question?
No, I mean, the first thing I wanted to say, I just wanted to make sure you heard the question so we get into it. But the first thing I'm going to say is, there's a very general answer you're asking there. That you'd have to get more specific, to be honest with you. But steroids in general, I'm not really going to comment on it too much, but women and steroids is just not a good idea. I don't ever recommend any women touch steroids. They're male hormones. There's no reason for a female to put those in their body. So I'm just going to leave. That's going to be just my answer for that. There's just, no matter who you talk to, just remember that steroids are male hormones. Why would they be in a female body?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a big no-no.
Yeah, one of the things I want to say too is, you're saying, will they damage you if you use them only for the last few weeks of a bikini prep? You have to there's got to be like a risk-reward thing. So you're trying to get in good shape for your contest, which is fine. I mean, I get that. I'm an athlete. I'm a competitor. I totally understand you're always looking for that competitive edge to get ahead here. And I get that. But at the end of the day, what are you going to win, really? A trophy? Is it the medal you're going after? Is it first place? Is it overall? Really, what are you getting out of it? Versus by taking something, the kind of long-term damage you're going to have on your body. You got to really weigh that out.
Yeah, but also the last few weeks of a prep, aren't you basically where you want to be at? You should be where you want to be at, and be ready for that prep for the.
Yeah, most people just think that just steroids in general are a magic pill, and. Yeah, I mean, listen, these are hormones, male hormones that shouldn't be in a female body. And yes, you will build muscle and probably lose fat using them. But the problem is the long-term damage from it's just not worth it. Just learn how to work out correctly, diet correctly, and get the results naturally. You'll be so much better off in the long term. And again, I don't know your situation, so it's very, very hard to answer this. But if you want to bear children one day, or if you want, it's going to be very, very hard if you have testosterone floating around in your system. I can only imagine the permanent effects that it would have on your body too. I mean, I know some of the things are not to sound gross, but the ladies are going to be checking themselves after this. But if a woman was to take steroids, their clitoris actually gets hard and enlarges. It's disgusting, the things that happen. You also develop a manly voice. Your jawline changes. You start to develop hair in places that you shouldn't have hair. And I believe they lose hair on their head. I believe. I could be wrong on that last one.
It's possible. Everybody has different predispositions, and steroids will definitely accelerate any type of predisposition you have, whether it's, baldness, acne, all that stuff. Any type of, side effects that you don't want to get, steroids are going to enhance them. And if you're a female, you're going to see a lot more side effects than men because, like I said, it's not a hormone that's meant to be in a female's body.
Yeah, again, if you're doing a contest, I would just focus on trying to get in the best shape you can. Naturally.
Yeah, she does do she says fat burners also. That I don't feel like that would be bad if she wanted some kind of boost.
Yeah, a regular fat burner, yeah. An illegal fat burner.
Probably not talking about an over-the-counter fat burner.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
I'm going to assume if she said steroids and fat burners, I'm probably going to assume.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, Laura does not condone the use of illegal fat burners. Over the counter is acceptable.
Yeah, that's what I meant. She could do that. All right, ladies, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Looking to take your physique to the next level? Interested in working with the best coaches in the business? Hear what New York Muscle Radio clients are saying.
The best coaches I have ever had.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program. Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them.
I know now that I don't have to suffer eating low carb or low calorie. I've gained so much strength and metabolism, all while staying relatively lean, thanks to them. I would recommend them to anyone.
So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking.
Ready to join and take your physique to new levels? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com now.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean,
What can I do?
you gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious.
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Bikini and Barbell Show, episode number 13. So we're going to move on to today's podcast topic, and that we're going to talk about 10 tips to overcome a weight loss plateau. So you guys want to first talk about a weight loss plateau, what it actually is and how it happens first before we get the tips?
You know what? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But I want you to talk about, before we started training and you got serious with it, talk about when you had a weight loss plateau. What does that mean for you?
Honestly, that always felt like a struggle for me because I'm like, I really don't know if this means that I basically just stuck at where I'm at and I'm not getting any results. And I could be going to the gym doing so many amount of cardio and still not seeing the scale budge at all, which could get frustrating. And I guess that's where I hit the plateau before I started any type of prep, not even knowing that I was hitting that plateau.
Yeah, I mean, everyone diets, and you're going to eventually hit a plateau. It depends how long you're dieting. Plateau is basically the point when you just don't lose any more weight. You could still pull calories away. You could still do more cardio, but you just don't lose any more fat. It just seemed to be stuck. You know, and definitely, I got to say something. People think they're at a plateau all the time. Not many people have patience. Sometimes it could even take up to 4 weeks for your weight to move on the scale. And especially for a woman who goes through hormonal changes every month, the weight is never going to be a good indicator of anything. You have to just kind of focus on looking at yourself in the mirror because your weight will just jump around based on that time of the month. So a weight loss plateau is defined as not being able to lose weight for an extended period of time. But again, 4 weeks, I would say, is the maximum where, okay, if nothing changes in 4 weeks, then you could say, all right, I think that we're at a plateau here. But again, it could take that long for the scale to move. I've seen it happen so many times. I'm sure you have too, big guy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's different for everybody. Everybody has different metabolic rates. Everybody's coming from a different dieting phase. You know, if you go from a really high calorie diet to a really low calorie diet, you can accelerate some type of stalling or fat loss plateau more so than somebody that does it gradually. So for everybody, you're going to see it at a different rate, but they definitely exist, and you know, you got to go about your dieting properly to avoid it, and you got to know when to recognize it, like Anthony said. But you got to give it time too, because you can't just jump on and say, oh, I've been dieting for a week and I didn't lose anything. It's a plateau. I need to change something. Sometimes you might be right where you need to be. You just have to give it more time.
I guess that you can also get confused. Well, I don't know if, because when you hit a plateau, but what if you're just maintaining that weight? You're thinking that you're only maintaining that weight and not plateauing. Is that like a...
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So you're saying, if you're saying maybe you're not losing weight, but you're not in a plateau?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, generally, if your goal is fat loss and you're trying to diet down and lose weight, you should consistently, not necessarily the same amount every week, but you should consistently see that scale go down. Whether, you might stall 1 week, the next week you might lose, and then net the same amount as you would if you lost weight consistently. It's not always going to happen week to week. So you might have a week where nothing changes. Then you get on the scale the next week, not changing anything, 2 or 3 pounds come off. So that could be a completely normal thing. You might not see a pound every single week, but you might see 3 pounds over the course of 3 weeks. Just might not happen right away.
Yeah. And I guess that's why also people just fall off because they're like, all right, you know what, I'm not losing weight, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. And that's it.
Yeah, people get frustrated very easily. Like I said, no one has patience. I mean, listen, I don't either. I've been dieting for 6 weeks. I'm like, I should be like 10 pounds lighter. It's like, no, it's not really the case.
And you know what also they'll do? They'll just cut their calories completely, which I actually did that in the beginning. And I got in trouble for doing that, but now
I know, because you randomly picked macros to follow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this sounds good.
I trusted my fitness pal to do it for me.
Yeah,
but
that's a big mistake with all those stupid things that are out there that calculate your macros for you.
I tell everybody
hey, Pete,
that.
pipe down. I'm in the middle of a sentence.
I tell everybody that, man.
Guy. All right, what do you tell people? Let's hear it.
I tell everybody. I've yet to turn somebody on to using MyFitnessPal, have them plug in their information, and seen MyFitnessPal give them decent numbers to work with. Every single time, if you go off of what they say, I have to tell them, listen, no way. Do not even attempt to follow that. Way too low. Have you ever plugged it in for somebody and seen it be somewhat decent to work with, or no?
Never once.
Not once.
That's the same thing with other ones too. There's other ones that claim they have special algorithms that figure out all this crap, and they're all complete crap.
Yeah, your body's not a computer. You can't use a computer to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure. That's for sure. That is a good. Every once in a while, man, you're very quotable.
Yeah, that was actually a really good one.
I'm quotable.
Every once in a...
Maybe I'll get featured on the quote of the day. I said your body's not a computer. You can't use one to figure it out.
Yeah, that's actually really smart. Did you make that up?
Yeah, I'm telling you, he took his happy pills today, man. He's not grumpy. He sits there grumpy, mad. I don't want to record. I'm Groot.
It is a nice... have a nice fancy microphone. Look.
Yeah, I got the nice setup here too. Today it's a nice day out too. I guess the seasonal affective disorder is worn off, and my my mood is elevated. So we have a good podcast today.
You're stroking under the table? Yeah, spring's coming, man. All right, Lo, what's the first tip?
All right, so the first tip is to adjust your calorie intake.
Yeah, so again, like we spoke about, the first thing to do when you're at a plateau is you have to assess your calories. See where you're at right now and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Nothing has happened in 4 weeks. I think I should drop calories a little bit. So maybe, again, you don't have to get aggressive. Just dropping 10 grams of carbs can go a long way.
Yeah, sometimes that 10 grams of carbs is literally the difference between you stalling and you losing weight. A 10-gram drop can get weight moving if it stalls. And people think you need more. That's the problem a lot of times. They'll stall. They'll lower their calories. They'll stall. And then they'll say, oh, shit, I didn't lose any weight. Let's drop another 400 calories. But it might only be 10 grams of carbs that's going to separate them from stalling and moving along.
Yeah.
And I guess it also goes along with laziness because people really don't know how to adjust their own calories. How do they know where to even start from?
Yeah, that's why I always recommend people to hire a coach, hire a trainer, hire someone to be accountable for. One, to keep you accountable, and two, you don't have to worry about these things. Like I talked about this so many times in the podcast. Having a coach, you're literally just able to execute on the plan that was given to you and just keep going. You don't have to question anything. You don't have to worry about being at a plateau because it's your coach's job. All you have to do as a client is execute that plan. I tell all my clients this. There's 168 hours a week. I'm just going to give you the plan. It's your job to follow through on that plan. So 168 hours are on you to do what you have to do. Get the proper amount of sleep. Eat the calories you're supposed to eat. Eat the exact macros you're supposed to eat. Drink your water and do your cardio. That's your job. You have to do that. That's your job as a client. If you don't follow through on that and you're hitting a plateau, it's not the trainer's fault. It's you. You have to make sure you go back to the table and make sure you do your homework.
The next tip is the quality of the foods you eat.
Oh, Pete, this is right up your alley, man, with the whole Subway thing and soy. I'll let you take this
processed foods. Oh.
Well, you know what it is? It goes way beyond just processed foods. It goes on to the most important part of it is actually eating foods. Yeah, foods that are accurate in their nutrition. And a lot of times you'll see people, I think we mentioned this on the last podcast too, you'll see people that might stall in weight. and they tell you, we've even had clients with this, and we make sure, okay, are you following the diet? Are you hitting the macros? Yes, I'm hitting the macros every day. Here's my log. Look, and then you might see some foods that they're eating in there, and those foods clearly have way more calories than the nutrition label actually represents. And a lot of times they do this with net carbs, where they don't add the calories in. A lot of times they just subtract the carbs from the total calories. They round the calories. You have to be very careful with what it is that you're tracking, especially if you're doing macro counting and you're accounting for everything that you are eating. You have to make sure that the foods you're eating actually contain those calories. And unfortunately, a lot of times you can be deceived. Like we said in the last podcast when we talked about Subway having only 50% of the chicken in the chicken.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The macronutrients are not going to be reflective of that. And so a lot of other, most of the time it's not food. Most of the time it's supplements, but there's plenty of food, snacks, and stuff like that too. I've said this before, Quest bars, you used to scan them, and when you would scan them in MyFitnessPal, it would subtract all the fiber calories. And, there was like 15 grams of fiber in there. That's 15 grams of extra carbs that you're not accounting for. So you have to be careful when you scan stuff and put it in MyFitnessPal. Make sure it's adding up. You might be consuming more calories than you realize, and that's why you're stalling. And it's not that you're not losing weight or your body's not responding. It's that you're eating food that's higher than what you should be in calories.
Yeah, I mean, too, the most recent thing, and this is kind of lost a little bit of my heart here on this one. We talked about this on New York Muscle Radio, episode number 162. Subway actually just got busted. Laura, did you see that?
Yeah, I was reading. I was like, wow.
Yeah, Subway's chicken is apparently only 50% chicken, and the rest is like soy and other stuff like that. And that's very upsetting.
It always tasted kind of fake, though.
I'll just kind of go fuck myself. Hey, everybody yells at me for cutting people off. No one yells at me.
All right, that's the first time I did it. First time I ever did it.
Hey, Anthony, remember, you're a co-host on this podcast, all right?
Pete, pipe down.
Let the host talk.
Yeah, pipe down. Third wheel.
That's all I'm good for here, the third wheel, guys.
Yeah, you're here for comedic effect.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, in Subway, the chicken, like we said, was 50% actually chicken, and the rest of it was soy and other junk. So when we say quality of the food you're eating, make sure that you're not being deceived by all these companies. I mean, supplement companies, big brands, whey protein claiming to have 25 grams of protein a scoop and only has 10. So you really got to kind of, when you hit a plateau, you got to question the things that you're eating. I would say definitely if you're in a real weight loss, try to eat most of the meals from home. Try to bring your food with you as much as you can. And try to limit going out to eat to a couple times a week, just for that reason alone, because you never know what you're going to get. We practice flexible dieting here, and yes, you should be living a flexible lifestyle. But if you go out to eat, you never know what's in your food. And simple fact of the matter, look at Subway, 50% of their chicken. And you got to tell me that, this place is really, really good. It's really clean. I know that their food is really good. It's definitely what it is. Yeah, but how do you know the waiter didn't drop it on the floor?
Yeah.
So you never know. Or they added oil to it, or they added butter to it. You never know. So if you're at a plateau, these are the things you have to consider.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually considering Chipotle also. That worries me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Someone commented on my Instagram about that when I posted that Chipotle's.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, they lie about the marinade that covered. Their chicken's way too good. And usually, I know, this is the funny thing. Is like, wow, the chicken from Chipotle is great. Yeah, you made chicken from home, and it does not taste like the Chipotle chicken.
Exactly.
There's stuff in there.
Exactly. Tip number 3 says don't change your workout routine.
Yeah, I like this one actually because most people would say, actually, okay, I hit a plateau. It's time to change up my workout routine. And that's the best time to not change your workout routine. A lot of people forget the fact that whatever puts muscle on when you're not dieting is going to keep muscle on in the long term. So if you, let's just for argument's sake say you were doing a program like the New York Strong program that we have on New York Muscle Radio, which is a progressive program. If you were doing that program leading up into your cut and you just suddenly plateaued weight-wise and you said, I need to change my workout, you're going to end up losing some muscle doing that. So that's not a smart thing to do. So don't change your workout routine. Don't try to, like stupid people say, and shock their bodies into lose weight. You can't shock your body by your workout routine. Your muscles only see progression and they can only feel weight. They can't say, oh, look, Anthony did an extra set of pull-ups today. He shocked the lats. Let me just drop 10 pounds of fat here because he did that. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you also hear that word.
No follow-up from anyone. Pete, stay quiet there. Don't worry.
Look at his face.
Look at him. He's confused. He's thinking of something to say. That's fine. What's the matter,
man? Yeah, he's thinking of a story.
I was letting you guys go with that one. I didn't really have much to add to it. I mean, you covered it all there. The only
Back
thing
when I was 5 years old. Go ahead, say it, man. Say the story.
What are you talking about, man?
You said earlier on I had a long story when I was 5 years old. I can remember that.
No, I said I can remember stories from when I was 5 years old. I didn't have a specific story. I'm saying that my memory is good where I can remember a story from 5 years ago. Anyway, to add to that, the only thing I want to say, too, is that a lot of people make the mistake of switching. They say, okay, you know what? I'm just maintaining muscle. I don't have to do those heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, heavy bench press, and stuff like that. You got to also remember that those movements are also stimulating the nervous system, and they're requiring more recovery than these easier movements. And the extra recovery you need to the nervous system, to the muscles, that's going to take up more energy from the body. So you're actually making your body burn more calories throughout the day, even when you're not working out, because you did those heavy exercises. So you're actually going to lose more fat doing those exercises because you're burning more calories throughout the day. So never take those movements out of your routine, especially if you're dieting.
Yeah.
My favorite is actually tip number 4. Beware that the calories, whatever you put into your mouth, does count. Because I know, like even coffee, people won't put that in because it's like, it's just like 20 calories. So just be aware of that anything, even if you have like one chip or whatever, a handful of chips, it counts.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. People pick. And then if they forget, they pick, actually.
And they're like, I'm not going to put this in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had a handful of almonds. Yeah. You know how many calories can add up to a handful of almonds? I believe it's like 1 almond is 1 gram of fat. So
almost, yeah.
A handful can. I know my handfuls can be big.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you got to talk about too is not tracking everything accurately. And when I say that, people say, "Oh, this is about an ounce of almonds." But it might be like 2 or 3 ounces, and that's a big difference in calories, because if you're talking about 14 grams of fat per serving and you're having double, you're having 28 grams of fat, but you're counting it as 14. So you got to be accurate with your measurements too. I mean, if you're going to eyeball something, make sure it's a very good eyeball. And I don't recommend you do that unless you're really good at eyeballing and you've done this for years, because it's very easy to mistake 1 serving of peanut butter for 2.
I was just going to say that, for example, I was having peanut butter and jelly on a rice cake, and I'm like, I'm going to measure this out because a tablespoon is not even a full tablespoon.
No.
So
you have to
crazy.
weigh it.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and not a lot of people realize this, when they say a tablespoon as a measurement, that's a measuring tablespoon. That's not a tablespoon that you actually eat with. So if you use the tablespoon that you eat with and count it, it's not going to be accurate.
2.
Yeah,
it's almost 2.
It's not going to be accurate. So you have to pay
especially the way
attention
some people scoop it out.
Right.
And
a
heaping like, all right,
scoop,
good, this count. Yeah.
A heaping scoop is not a heaping tablespoon is not a tablespoon.
Yeah.
Fun fact, actually, I had a bodybuilder tell me once, I was trying to gain weight. Oh, just have a handful of nuts with every meal. You'll gain. I didn't gain anything, actually, but it was just funny. That was like the advice that I got.
Tip number 5 is to weigh in often.
Yeah, I like this one too, because this is a good one. It's so true. People will randomly weigh themselves at random times of the day. Oh, look, I gained 5 pounds. Yeah, well, you weigh yourself at 8 o'clock at night with food and full stomach. Of course you're going to be heavier. Weigh yourself often and weigh yourself consistently. I weigh myself every morning after I use the restroom. I step on the scale every morning, take body fat, scale. That's the one I do everything like that. Every morning. I've been doing that consistently every day since 2014. I have every weight since 2014 in my phone. You believe that?
That's a little excessive. But I've done the same thing, so I can't disagree with that. But everybody should be doing that, because then you can see the trends. If you're weighing yourself every day, you could see, okay, my weight's either going up, even if it's 0.2 pounds. You can see that it's going up or it's going down or it's maintaining. You can predict where it's going to be at the end of the week if you keep this up. So you can look at it and say, okay, you know what? Slowly the weight's going down. I don't need to change anything. I'm losing. Or, you know what? That weight is not moving. 3 or 4 days in, it hasn't moved. I got to pay attention, make sure that I get it moving in the right direction. And the same thing, if you start to see it go up, you're not going to have to wait until you gain 3 pounds before you realize it. Then you can make an adjustment. Yeah,
the reason why I have it since 2014 is because I just have a habit of putting it in my phone every day.
Look, you had to say that.
He's defending himself now. It's all right, man. I do excessive stuff too.
You call me excessive. No, everything you do is excessive. We won't even get into that.
I don't do that.
You won't even touch tap water because
I don't even put it in my phone.
Do you weigh yourself every day?
Yeah, I do. I weigh myself every morning, and I've probably done it since 2009. I wouldn't even be surprised. But I never put it in my phone.
Oh, where do you write it? Or you
I
don't
was just
even
gonna say,
write
where
it?
It depends. If I'm not dieting, I don't write it down. If I'm dieting, I'll just put a note in my phone. But just as a general, like I said, just to predict the trend that's going on. If I'm just maintaining or if I'm bulking, I'll weigh it, make sure that weight is either staying steady or going up. But when I'm dieting, I actually keep track of it because you want to be a lot more accurate with that.
Yeah. Tip number 6 is to get enough sleep and don't stress.
Yeah, so I can't comment on the sleep thing because I get like none. So you guys can take that one, and I can take the stress one. Don't stress because Pete stresses about everything, you know. So
I could talk about both of them, but I'll go with the sleep one. Sleep is really important, especially for fat loss, because your metabolism is running all day, but when you're sleeping, your body's repairing itself, it's recovering, and that's where you need your body to try to fully recover from everything you're doing in a day. So if you miss out on that, your body's not going to perform the best that it can. Not everybody lives a lifestyle where they can get in a good amount of sleep, so in that case, you got to focus on quality over quantity. But if you can, try to get your 7-8 hours in and get quality sleep, it's going to pay off so much better than if you just don't pay attention to sleep. And the biggest thing, too, is if you pay attention to your sleep patterns and your weight patterns, there's always a direct correlation. If you get on the scale every single day for a week and you slept 8 hours every single day that week, you're going to see a certain weight on the scale. Go a couple nights where you sleep 3 or 4 hours, get on the scale in the morning, and I guarantee you that weight's not going to be the same. And it's not because you got fat or anything like that, but if you didn't go all those hours with sleeping and fasting, your weight's not going to be as low in the morning. So you're going to see those trends and you're going to get confused and you're going to say, wow, why did I gain 2 pounds? Well, how was your sleep that night? Did you sleep all night? If you didn't, then okay, don't worry about it. It was because you didn't sleep that your weight kind of went up, or it didn't drop all the way down because you didn't go so many hours of sleeping. So you got to pay attention to that stuff too.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because people don't pay attention to that at all.
No.
Like they'll pull an all-nighter and not even realize it, and they'll wake up heavier. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So pay attention.
I don't know. Every time when I don't sleep, I wake up a little lighter.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Like, so if I'm out, right, and I'm dieting, and I stay out like later than normal, I'll wake up always lighter the next day. I don't know if it's just because I don't know.
That's not normal, but I guess that could
Well, I
happen.
guess you're not eating. You're not eating, right, while you're out.
Yeah, I guess I'm more active, so I don't know. But yeah, every single time.
There could be different situations depending on what you're doing. Like you said, yeah, if you went, I've had this before too. Like if I didn't sleep one night, I might have gone like 16 hours straight without eating, which is like, that's considered like an intermittent fasting type time frame of not eating. So yeah, you'll wake up and you'll probably be lighter, but sometimes people will only sleep 5 hours or 4 hours, but they'll get their last big meal in right before they go to bed, sleep 4 hours, and then wake up the next day. They're going to be heavier, because they didn't sleep 8 hours where they had 8 hours between that last meal and getting up in the morning. So it's going to depend on when you're timing your meals, but most likely if you're following a consistent schedule with your eating and then one night you sleep less, you'll probably get on the scale the next morning. You might see it a little bit higher. That's a normal trend.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about stress now. They also say that stress, obviously they say stress kills. When you're stressed out, your cortisol level rise, and apparently you have a harder time losing weight. I don't know how true that is. So
I don't know.
For me, the way my mentality is I don't bother with things I can't control. So obviously you're going to get stressed out. Life can be very stressful. So at times you get stressed out, you just got to ride it out, and then just kind of sometimes you got to take a deep breath and let it go. That's all you got to do. Let it go.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I just want to throw in on stress is that
just go ahead, throw it in, man.
It's overblown a lot of times when people use. I think it's a crutch a lot of times. Oh, it's because of stress.
Yeah.
I mean,
you hear that so much.
I stress eat.
Yeah.
I've been stressed lately.
If you look at that on paper and you talk about cortisol and stress, and if your cortisol's high, it's gonna make you store body fat and this and that. It's gonna make you lose muscle. I've had my blood work done so many times, and every single time it comes back, my cortisol is like way higher than normal, and I never have trouble losing body fat or holding on to muscle and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe it's making it harder for me, but it's not one of those things where it's like an all or nothing situation. Oh, if your cortisol's high, you're going to be fat. That's just an excuse. It might make it harder, but it's not an end all be all.
Tip number 7 is to keep a closer eye on your calorie needs. And I guess meaning like how many calories you're burning during your exercise, and not to okay, I'm going to burn this much on the treadmill and then eat this much. So just to keep an eye on that and not to always just rely on, okay, I'm going to do this much because now I can eat more.
Right. Yeah, you have to have an actual reference to how many calories you should be eating and burning, or that you burn throughout the day. And that's only going to vary a little bit day to day. Yeah, there's going to be days where you're more active, so in theory, yeah, you could have ate more. There's going to be days you're less active, so you could have ate less. But you have to have that reference point to go off of about how many calories are you burning in a day, how many do you need to lose weight, how many do you need to maintain. So you have to have that to base off of, and then you can make adjustments from there. But people they're way too haphazard with just dropping calories. They say, okay, you know what, today I'm just going to eat 500 calories. Tomorrow I'm going to eat 1,000. But if you know, okay, on a daily basis, I burn about 2,000 calories a day, let's say, why would you drop it to 500 a day? Why would you drop it to 1,000 a day? If you're burning 2,000 calories in a day and you want to create a deficit, you eat less than 2,000 calories, but you don't need to drop down to 500.
I have nothing to say about that.
Yeah, that was... Tip number 8 is to always hydrate.
Yeah, water is always important, and plus, especially when you're dieting too, it kind of fills up your stomach. So I always end up, as soon as I'm dieting, I end up drinking a lot more water to kind of fill my stomach. Just a habit, I guess. But yeah, proper hydration. You know, the kidneys are responsible for burning fat and breaking down fat. So you have to make sure they're hydrated. So yeah, proper hydration is definitely key. 1% reduction in water, being even 1% dehydrated, will equate to about 10 to 20% decrease in strength. So you have to make sure you're well hydrated.
Tip number 9 is to increase muscle mass.
And on one, big guy?
Strength training program.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite one, and it's because, and I tell this to everybody. If your goal is to lose weight and you could only do one thing, you couldn't do cardio and do weights, you could only do one or the other. Most people are going to say, if I told you, which one would you do? Oh, if I want to lose weight, I should just do cardio. By far, you're going to benefit from just doing weights if you could only do one or the other, because of 2 reasons. One, like Laura just said, if you build more muscle, your metabolic rate is going to increase. And when your metabolic rate is faster, you're going to burn more fat. The second reason is if you're working out, you're going to get the benefits of burning calories while you're working out, just like you are when you're doing cardio. Cardio is just additional calories burned. You're still burning calories when you weight train. So weight train, build some muscle, burn some calories, and then increase your metabolic rate. You're going to be a fat burning machine, even when you're sitting around doing nothing. Right now we're sitting in chairs. Right now we're recording podcasts. Arguably, me and Anthony are going to be burning more calories than Laura, just simply because we have more muscle mass on our frame. So anybody who could add more muscle mass on their frame is going to be burning more calories.
Yeah, and actually, I took the ice pack that I put on my elbow before. I put it around my neck.
Is it around your neck?
Yeah, because it's not as cold anymore. So I put it around my neck, and Dr. Oz says if you put it around your neck, you burn more fat, actually.
Really?
What was his his rationale with that?
Like, I don't know, because it something to the brain has to heat up. I don't know. I remember he actually said that. I don't remember why, but
I'm surprised you actually listened to that.
No, I'm not. I just put it around my neck just because it feels good. It's not that cold, but it's like nice. So just put it around my neck. But yeah, I agree, man. You have to work out weights, ladies.
And the last tip is to eat more protein.
Yep, I think this one especially falls prey to women, because a lot of women just, guys, it's easier. Okay, I'll get a steak. Guys always are more inclined to eat protein than women are. And you need protein, ladies. Protein's it keeps you fuller. Your body actually has to heat up a little bit more to burn off protein. So protein is definitely one of those nutrients that you need to get in. Make sure you get enough. And for women, what I've seen mostly, average women anyway, they have a very hard time hitting their protein intake. Very hard.
I don't at all. I go over all the time.
Really? Well, I mean, like I said, I'm talking about average women. For average women, they find it very, very hard to get protein in.
Yeah, and they could eat a ton of carbs and they never have trouble getting carbs in. But, a lot of times, too, they get the misconception that, because you hear it all the time, calories in versus calories out, and that's true. But then they get the misconception, all right, if I'm going to eat 1,400 calories a day, I'll just eat 1,400 calories a day. And then you look at their macros for the day, they ended up eating 90% carbs, 5% protein and 5% fat, or something ridiculous like that. I've seen women consuming 1,500 calories and they only ate like 10 grams of protein for the day, and you're not going to have the same results just because it's 1,400 calories. Yes, you're off to a good start restricting calories, but now if you were to eat those 1,400 calories and a big portion of it was protein, you'd make significant progress without even changing the calories or dropping them lower. So it's not always about dropping calories first. It's also about fixing those macronutrient ratios.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the primary reasons why we created caffeine also, because caffeine is our signature coffee product. You know, the average person listening to this, you know, the average person consumes 3 cups of coffee a day. So if you just switch and use caffeine, which has 10 grams a cup, that's 30 extra grams of protein you get without even trying. You know, one of the other things, too, that we've been doing since we got them in, the BCAAs, you know, each BCAA contains each scoop contains 5 grams of protein. So I use 4 a day. That's 20 grams of protein I don't have to worry about. Plus the 10 from caffeine. That's 30 grams of protein that I get in a day without even trying.
Yeah, easily.
You know, yeah, so for some women, that could be 2 things they could add to their arsenal to help them increase their protein intake. How much protein would you say, I mean, I'm just asking this question, John. I know the answer, but I'm asking, how much protein do you think a woman should get? You know, how many grams per pound of body weight?
I mean, at the minimum, a gram of protein per pound of body weight. I always found the sweet spot to be like 1.25. That's like ideal if they're trying to put on muscle or burn fat. But there's going to be some variations depending on their weight, depending on how much muscle they have. But you can't go wrong between 1 gram and 1.25.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, I think when you get past a certain point weight-wise, that formula kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I always thought it was so it's normal for women to have more carbs than their protein.
What do you mean, like
on FitnessPal? Like
to
have their carbs higher than the amount of protein they have.
Yeah.
I mean, that depends. I mean, even for guys too, a lot of times, like right now, I'm bulking up. My carbs are higher than my protein. When I'm dieting, it depends. At the start of my diet, the amount of carbs are still going to be higher. But when I get deep into a diet, the carbs are going to be lower. But in most cases, your protein and your carbs are going to be relatively similar. But to more, for bulking off season, carbs are going to be higher. Yeah.
I think those 10 tips were a good way to overcome a weight loss plateau. Do you guys have anything to add to any other tips that we didn't point out?
Yeah, I would just say just stay consistent. Like I said, have more patience and just keep trusting the process. That's all you got to do is just trust in the process and it'll work, and just keep grinding away and do your work. If you do your work, good things will happen.
Pete?
That covers all of it. I can't really add too much more to that.
Wow.
I mean, I can if you really.
No,
if you want me to, I can. If you want me to, I can.
You know why he's not saying anything? Mm-hmm. Because he knows the podcast is over and he wants to be done recording. That's what it is. Yeah, he laughs. Look at him. See, guys, this is what I mean. I always say he's a piece of crap, but no one believes me. But I know him well enough to know. Yeah. Look, as he drinks his bottled water, because tap water is for poor people, right?
Exactly, man. See, you know me too well.
All right, ladies. Well, that is all we have for you today on today's episode of the Bikini and Barbell Show. Also, ladies, just don't forget to head over to www.newyorkmuscleradio.com/bikini ready to pick up your copy of the 12-week program to help you stay bikini ready. And I hope you ladies remember to just never give up and always strive to be the best and never be a quitter. This is Laura, Pete, and Anthony with the Bikini and Barbell Show, and always remember, strength and beauty can exist in the same body with training like a man.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.